Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Are Worthy Network. We are the hostess with the mostest. I'm your host, Jacqueline Charles, and our co-host is Lisa Hurley. Now, mind you, there's some days I'm gonna be the co-host and she gonna be the host. So we take turns driving this wheel that we have. So we are so glad to have you. Now, here's the deal. This is what's going on, right? Before we talk about the show, we have to give flowers to our people, right? So, Lisa, I need you to let me see. Okay, so I have something scrolling across and it says, "Congratulations, Lisa." Now, here's the thing, right? Let me read this to y'all, right? Because I'm telling you, we're here to support our sisters, right? So, listen to this, right?
Don't make me
So,
cry.
this just happened and I burst into tears. Little old me from Barbados is on the Favicon top 10 LinkedIn creators in inclusion and diversity list. It is one of the lists on the, I know I'm saying it wrong, please forgive me, Favicon top 200. Listen to me, y'all. 200 worldwide LinkedIn creators list. Lisa's ranked there, it's 101 out of 200 worldwide. She's humble, she's appreciative. It's an honor to be included among so many wonderful people who she respects. We sometimes when we do things, we don't do it for the accolade, and that's Lisa. You know, I'm the one who be doing stuff for accolades. Lisa's humble. I'm not humble. I'm just confident, okay? Some might call it cocky. So she doesn't do it for the accolades, but accolades are nice. She's grateful to Jeremy, again, I may not say his name, Bissomnat, and Favicon team for this honor. So I want to show y'all something. Lisa, can y'all see it? I highlighted. She's ranked number 7. Okay? Number 7.
Oh,
Y'all see?
Jackie.
See? When I say we here to support everyone, I want y'all to see. Wait, let me bring this out some because I don't know if y'all can see it well. Okay. So I want y'all to know when we do things, especially on this platform and Lisa's platform, and across there I have congratulations, Lisa. So basically what happens, so for some of you who don't know, it's a lot of work that goes into our content, a lot of work. Sleepless nights. Lisa is a copywriter. Lisa loves writing, and she talks about racism, on her platform, and basically diversity, inclusion, and equity. So she does a lot of that. People don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. They just see the pretty stuff. They don't know that we're up 7 to 10 hours. We don't go to bed. We have a family. We barely pay attention to them because we're doing this. It's a lot of hard work that goes into this. Again, you sometimes miss out on life sometimes if it's not balanced. If
Yeah.
you're doing it by yourself, you're like you're an island by yourself. And the people who understand what we're doing are the people who are doing what we're doing. The people who don't understand when they're not doing it, because it's like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? So before we start the show, I wanted to congratulate Lisa Hurley. She is definitely one of my sisters. I love her. I appreciate her. She does so many wonderful things. When I tell you her writing is of this world, it's of this world. I know we have a topic we're going to talk about tonight, but I would be remiss in not mentioning my co-host, who's also the host of the show, on the wonderful accolades she just received. She's going to receive way more. This is just the beginning of great things. So, Lisa, I just want to say I am so proud to be in your space. Oh, you didn't think I was gonna swipe this off the page when you told me?
Listen, I thought you listen. We spoke again talking about the backstory. We spoke actually maybe an hour and 15 minutes ago exactly, right? And there's a whole backstory to that. And thank goodness you called. But everybody don't need to know our business. But thank goodness you called. So you called. We had a little touch base, and I mentioned it to you. But you said, okay, well, I'm rushing home and blah blah, and I'll see you in about an hour at that time, right? So that was probably literally at 4:45 p.m. this evening. And so Um, the last my mind, all I was trying to do was I like, okay, you got to, we always have thousands of checklists, right? So I'm like, okay, what on this checklist do you have to check off before you get ready and are there present and fully accounted for your show, right? With Miss Jackie. And so that's all I was thinking about. I was like, I'm just talking to my sister, telling her, oh my gosh, this amazing thing happened. So I did not expect this. I didn't expect you to have a whole, ticker tape running across the bottom. But you know what? Now that I think about it, that is so you.
Oh,
That's you. That's you. Like you just are, you are a celebrator of people. You are a multiplier and an amplifier of people. I mean, it is in the work you do. And I feel blessed to be one of your sisters. I feel blessed to be your sister. And thank goodness I have these on because, girl, the tear. You saw me fanning back the tears. I'm like, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. I just put on my foundation. Don't make me cry.
I was watching because when I said my hair looks like this is because I was rushing. So y'all look, just forgive the hair because I said let me rush because I wanted to celebrate you. And when I asked you a few minutes ago, I said, "Can you see?" What happened was it popped up. So I said, can you see with your and you said this is your reading glasses. So I deleted it right away because it was scrolling when I was talking to you, and I didn't want it to scroll then.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so that's why I was rushing. My husband was like, you okay? I'm like, then my printer wasn't working. I was fighting with it because I didn't want to read it from my phone.
I heard you talk about the printer, and I
Yes.
was like, and I didn't even, I mean, you're busy people. I'm like, she must have something else printing. It never occurred to me that you were printing off that. And I just feel, I feel blessed on multiple levels. And thank you for giving me my flowers. My flowers are, in fact, we're going to pretend, look, this is my, my bouquet. I received this from you, right? And so it is important to give ourselves and each other flowers. It is very, very important to do that. So I received that from you. And a lot of my posts, I talk about being from Barbados. And it's for multiple reasons. What a lot of people don't realize, though, is that statistically speaking, it's really hard for somebody specifically from Barbados to do certain things and achieve certain things, just numerically speaking, right? It is an island that is 166 square miles in area, right? don't correct me. That's probably wrong. But anyway, close enough. It is a small island. The total population is probably, I think, is still under 300,000 people, right? And there are things you can do in Barbados, wonderful things and careers that people can have. But for what I wanted to do, it's hard to achieve them there. That's one of the reasons why so many of us come here to the United States. And so to come here and be from such a small place and be able to make any kind of splash is a big achievement. And so it always, sometimes these things happen and I'm in shock because how did it happen? And it's not any disrespect to myself. I know I'm putting in the work, but it's a shock that anybody is seeing it and appreciating it in this way. And so I feel grateful. And I was named, I mean, the other people on all the lists are just wonderful achievers in their own right. And I am grateful. I am happy. I'm trying to figure out how to celebrate, right? But I feel good. I'm happy and grateful. And a little bit of that.
Yeah, you gotta pop the color. Gotta pop it.
You gotta pop it sometimes, right? So I'm feeling a little bit of that. And my sister, I thank you for having the love in your heart to big me up, as we would say back home, right? Big things that go on. Big things that go on.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Thank you, my
You're
love.
welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I don't want y'all to say, okay, what is this a show? But tonight's show, we wanted, on this platform, we wanted to talk about the reason let me tell you the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to so many different people, and for them, monogamy is not a thing. You're watching television, you're on the news. So far, I think in the last 5 days, 7 couples have separated. and of the 7, maybe 3 are actually divorcing. So people are questioning monogamy. Is the monogamy a thing? I've had one person tell me monogamy is a white, it's a Caucasian thing. It's not a
Is
black person's thing, right? So that's what they told me. So is monogamy still a thing? Are people destined to cheat? Are monogamous relationships set up to fail? Is polygamy the way? Is polygamy the new thing? You know,
Mm-hmm.
so Lisa and I will be talking about this, and we'll be our special guest Khadijah Jordan. She'll be joining us. So as she's going to be unpacking, you know, polygamy because she's a practicing polygamist. So I think it's really interesting to see that one, we're going to have a woman, and number 2, we're going to have a black woman on the show talking about it, because people are so used to seeing like Sister Wives, and those shows are in the Mormon community that's on television. You don't see that often, you know, on television, or people speaking about it, you know, who are African American. So we want to talk about this polygamy. As we said, polygamy versus monogamy. That's what Lisa and I decided to call this show. Like, what's, you know, we have our personal views, you know, but we want to be open to talk about it. So, you know, Miss Khadijah will be joining us shortly, but Lisa and I and you know, you guys are also our co-host as well. You know, comment, you know, just talk about it. What do you think? Lisa, what is your thought? Do you think that if you would go back again, would you be open to be the polygamous relationship, in a polygamous relationship?
This could be a short show because my answer is heck no. but
Okay.
but we have a bit more time, so I'll make it a longer response. It is not for me.
Why?
It is not for me because look, I barely want to be around myself and one other person. I barely can. I always say, like, I love people, and I love my people, right? People that are in my circle, but I don't like people like that. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm very particular about who steps foot through my door, right? And by I mean a literal door or a figurative door, right? But I am very careful about who enters my door of any kind. And so for me, I'm a little bit too persnickety. I'm a little like I'm funny. I'm funny about certain things, and I just it's a no for me. Also, I feel like if the way that traditional marriage, as many people understand it, is set up, it benefits men more
Oh, definitely.
than
Definitely.
women,
Definitely.
right? So I'm like, okay, so now you want two of us, three of like I don't know. For me, it's a no. What about you? Please let me know what your personal feelings are, because I am interested.
You don't want to know my no, seriously.
I do.
For me, I'm open to hearing, and I'm open to embracing what other people have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we think about polygamy, I think the first thing people think about is sex. That's the first thing. They're not thinking about the other aspects of polygamy okay, so when I first moved to Georgia, I met this young lady. She was doing my hair, and she had her baby. And for the next 3 days, I didn't see her baby. So I asked her, where's the baby? She said the baby's at home, because she was doing micro braids, and it took 3 days.
Right.
So
right.
she said the baby's at home. So I said, oh, at home with your husband? She says, no, home with my wife. I said, your wife? I said, oh, so... And I said it out loud instead of just thinking, oh, she's a lesbian. She says, I asked her, I said, are you a lesbian? Because she said wife. So I thought, she says, no. She says, I'm in a polygamous relationship. And I'm like, polygamous? Let me read it. Let me go at the time we didn't have the phone or whatever. And I said, wow. So she explained to me that the wife stayed home and took care of the kids. Her and the husband actually goes out and make the money. So she stays home, takes care of the kids, clean the house. So I asked her, I says, well, how does sex work? Because since they're all living together, because you have some people living in a polygamous relationship, but they're not all living together.
Right.
So she communicated to me that, they all have their separate rooms. It was a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom apartment, or 5-bedroom, wherever they were living. The kids slept in one room. They all each slept in their separate rooms. So that's 4. And
Okay.
when it was time for whomever to have the relations with the man, that spare bedroom, because they wanted to keep each bedroom sacred. So
Right.
that room was
Okay.
the boom boom room,
The boom boom room. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. I mean, I could see if one were going to have that kind of arrangement or that kind of marriage, that sounds like a good way to do it.
But for me, to answer your question,
Hmm.
I can't do. Oh no, I'm not open enough to do that. I'm still, and I'm not going to say I'm archaic or whatever. It's just that, and
Well, I'm
again,
archaic.
see, our mind has been conditioned for so many years to do different things, right? I mean, to do the same thing over and over again. But if it doesn't work, we have to look to new. I think we need to. I think today's society, we need to redefine what marriage is. I think that's the first thing,
Mm,
because
mm.
you're right. It is set up for the men, right? And we remember years ago, I think in the 70s, where a woman was married, she couldn't buy a house unless she was married. She couldn't
Mhm.
do anything without her husband's name
She can
on the
open a
paper.
bank account. She can
Right,
none of that.
right. So now I just don't think I am open or ready to have another woman, Ray, come into the house and he's kissing her and kissing me, or I'm not open to that yet. I know other people are, but that's why I
Mhm.
wanted the guests to talk to us a little bit about. It's not for us to change our mind, but it
No, I
didn't.
want to know.
Right. It didn't make sense for us to talk about it if we didn't have someone who is practicing that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, the logistics, and I guess, do you think it's become more popular now because people are more embracing the LGBT community? Because again, too, people think that when you're in a polygamous relationship, that it's always threesomes. I do believe people think that as well.
I think though, okay, even that phrase a threesome to me, and again, let you know, you said a disclaimer. I'm going to put a disclaimer out as well. We this is not our field of study.
Right.
So we crave audience, we crave your indulgence, we crave your grace. We will get everything as right as we can, right? When I hear the word threesome, I think of, okay, it probably is actually like more of a casual sort of a thing, as opposed to um, a polygamous or polygynous relationship, which implies something more formed and more stable. And you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, when I hear threesome, I immediately think of or something of that nature. I think of, let's say like some of the basketball, the stars are going out and they're like, they're the groupies, and then boom, 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 they have a threesome. That's kind of what comes to mind um, for me.
Right, right.
But and this is something. I am willing to. I am teachable, and by that I mean there's a lot about this field of I call it a field of study, or a lot about this topic that I don't know, but I know that I don't know. So I am very much open to learning more, which is why, like you said, you invited our guest on so that we would have somebody that can speak from an informed place of lived experience, right? Because I don't know a lot about it. I have my opinions about it, but they are just that. They are opinions.
Right,
They
right,
are opinions, and it's okay to have opinions. Right?
right. So
It's
what do you
okay to have
think?
opinions.
So what do you think? Okay, so here's the thing too. What do you think about relationships where, because it's not far off, where the woman knows her man is cheating? She may not know the woman directly, like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" But know that he's cheating and is okay with him cheating because of obviously maybe financial reasons, or things like that. So
That's called life.
yeah, but what do you think about that? Because again, she knows. So how is that very different from this? Because she's giving, I'm not saying she's giving her blessings, but she's choosing to accept it, but not like, look, it's either her or me. You can't do that. What's the difference?
The difference is in if the how and when the agreement or the understanding is reached and sort of codified and agreed to, right? There is a difference between people being upfront and open and saying, hey, this is the kind of relationship that I would like to have. This is how it's set up. These are the rules and parameters, versus somebody getting married in what for now calling a traditional quote unquote Western marriage, right? In which there are two partners who have agreed, till death do us part, fidelity, loyalty, monogamy, etc., etc. These are things that they have agreed to. And therefore, if one party steps out, yes, that's cheating. If the woman or one of the people, but let's say, right, if the woman decides out of practicality or whatever reason, and you and I have touched on this in previous episodes, right, about what I call renting a lifestyle, right? If the woman is renting a lifestyle or knows that she cannot maintain the lifestyle to which she has become accustomed on her own, and decides out of practicality, okay, fine, right? We're just going to call this an arrangement, and I will just deal with this uncomfortable part of it, right? And as a compromise. But to me, those are two different things, and they're absolutely not the same, because the agreement was not entered into in that fashion. In a traditional, what we're calling a traditional marriage between two people, there's an agreement about mutual fidelity and monogamy, and if one person breaks that, that is a breaking of a contract, right? Yeah, so that's what I think. What about you?
Well, to me, I don't find it much different if we agree.
You do or you do not?
I don't find it different
Okay.
between the man cheating and you know that he's cheating, whether you confronted him or not, but you know he's cheating. Because to me, infidelity, so to speak, because you're basically entering, what's happening, but you're not saying it because, again, he has that lifestyle that you're accustomed to, and you don't want to upset the apple cart. So, he's going out, he's having possibly, more than likely, a physical affair.
Yeah.
And then you're in this other relationship where, okay, he's sleeping with her tonight. I don't want to use the word jealous. I want to use the word, and I don't want to use the word possessive. I'm not going to have you schlonging into her and schlonging into me. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
But what I do like about it is, oh, you can cook and clean. You can do this. We can share. We can share a lot of things.
But you see, okay, and that to me is one of the differences. Again, if you enter into a polygynous or polygamous relationship, you have those agreements, like what you mentioned about your friend who's like braiding your hair, right? And the baby is with the wife who has chosen to stay home with the kids. That has been agreed, right? This wife, this is what she's taking care of. This other wife is partially contributing to the financial income, and those are agreements that have been made, as opposed to, like, you don't have that agreement. Like if your husband is cheating, right, that woman is not coming back, cooking you collard greens and bring
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
She's not coming over to help clean the house, and nor are you going over to help clean hers, right? Or whatever it happens to be. Nor are you, let's say you're out working, you're not, doing no direct deposit for that other woman, right?
That's true. But what do we do? But see, and is it because someone said to me, again, we're talking about it. Again, we're not here judging people. This is a conversation that we want to have, conscious and intentional conversation. Miss Matthews says exactly. It can corrupt the pH balance, even if both wives are disease-free. She also wrote, he told
and the husband. Let's be clear, because back on to, remember, I don't remember if it was last episode or 2 episodes ago, we were talking about Nick Cannon, and Nick Cannon's comments about, the women are, he made some unsavory comments about women. And you and I were saying, but hold on a second. The common denominator between all those women, sir, is you. So handle your business and get that fixed. Whatever situation you have going on there, get it fixed, because you are the common denominator. And so I don't want to, I shy away from the, I guess the phrasing that, okay, the women are the ones who are carrying something. Right. No. Let's not do that. And I know that's not what Mrs. Matthews meant. I'm speaking in general. Yeah. I'm speaking in general. Right.
Yeah, because but see,
there's a joint responsibility.
He is the common denominator. Yeah. He is the common denominator. So we have to be careful. And I just read recently that he started doing commitment ceremonies with some of the women. So, but that's a whole nother different part too.
That's more BS.
It's just because I guess for me, I'm thinking, when you enter this relationship, this polygamous relationship, polyamorous relationship, you have to remove from ego, and you have to be removed from jealousy, because
is that even possible?
That's what I gotta ask her. That's what we gotta ask her. Is that even possible? Because I think she's supposed to come on 6:30-ish or something. Is that even, because I don't know. I think when you enter that type of a relationship or community, there's a lot of things you have to give up, I think, of yourself. And some of these things I ain't trying to give up. Okay? So I just think that that's what's happening.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I mean, for some people it might be jealousy. For me, it might be jealousy. I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, I'm just not really interested in being in what is supposed to be a committed relationship with one person and sharing. That's one thing. So, but hold on. But I know we're talking about being in a committed relationship with more than one person. But because I am set up to not even want to share with one person, I can't be sharing with 2 and 3 and 4 people. It's just not going to happen for me. Other people are different.
But what happens if you're in a relationship and some parts don't work, but you don't want to break up, but some parts don't work? Let's say you're in a relationship with a woman and she just doesn't want to give into his basic needs, whatever the case may be, but he loves her. He doesn't want to break up with her. She doesn't want to break up with him. And then he introduces the idea of, can we bring another woman in? Or either he goes out and I don't know, bring another woman in, not into the household, but this is what I'm looking to do. Are you okay with that? And if she says okay, because that's why I want to know the mindset of this, like, because it's almost like when you have a significant other, and if like Miss Leaks, her husband was sick for God knows how long. You knew they weren't having that type of physical relationship, so you're like, but then he was telling her she could date way before he passed. It's just like you got to be
okay. Okay, though that is to me, that's a completely different situation.
Okay.
Again,
you're right.
Again, you're talking about. Again, we're going to use the phrase a traditional marriage, right? Cishet man, cishet woman, right? Mm-hmm. And they're married. One partner is mortally ill, basically, and gives the other person explicit phrased permission to, and says, look, basically, I can't please you in this way.
Right.
I am not going to be on the earth for a lot longer, and I want you to be fulfilled and happy. That's a different discussion, because then to me, that's not cheating. Now, the other person who has been given this card, this go play card, might or might not choose to cash in that chip, right? But they have been given explicit permission within the parameters of that relationship, which now change the parameters of that relationship. That is a different scenario as far as I'm concerned.
Miss Matthews says, some are raised. I sent you my email, Miss Matthews, so I need you to connect with me. Okay, so it says, some are raised in that environment. They may know how to share happily. That's true. Mm-hmm. Many women No, some women have realized the senses of what? Now, 20 women to one man, now, especially a wholly heterosexual man, it seems to be rare in this era of his desires. Let me see. Yeah, thank you. The Muslims used to say that a man can have as many wives as he can comfortably support financially, physically, and emotionally, yet heard that there was a limit of four. Yeah, I heard there was a limit of four as well. But see, you can have the money, but women already, we come with so much. I don't see how men do it, because I'm hearing Akon is doing it. Akon's father had like maybe 10 wives or something like that. As a man, I don't know if I, but I'm not a man, if I could do it. As a woman, now here's the thing, y'all, that we're not touching on. We're not touching on this. We're so busy focused on the man. What about the woman have 4 or 5 men? We're not talking about that, because we're so focused like, well, can you have 3 wives, 4 wives? What about the woman's desire to have, I want 3 husbands or 2 husbands, or 1 husband and 2 boyfriends, or 1 husband and 1 boyfriend?
I again, not my area of study, but I have occasionally touched upon, articles or information online that have said that there were a lot of, I guess, matriarchal. Yes, Mrs. Matthews, that's exactly where I was going with this, right? That a lot of traditional societies from the African continent, that's how it was set up, right? A woman with many husbands, and again, not for me, but I am here for it. I am here for it. You know why? Because this matrix that you and I are living in, Miss Jackie, right? It is not easy for women. We need more help and more support. It is so hard for us to get it. And so if a woman can find a situation where she is getting the support that she needs, and it is healthy for everybody, I'm here for it. Again, not my personal choice, but I salute anybody. It's like, get your needs met. And by yes, polyamory. And by needs, I am not merely referring to the sexual. That's not even really what I'm talking about. That's part of it, right? I am talking about community. I'm talking about support. I'm talking about financially. I'm talking about emotionally, right? It's like how, like among women, right? We tend to have a bunch of girlfriends. You have your let's go shopping girlfriend. You have your cry on her shoulder girlfriend. You have your let's go traveling girlfriend. You have your girlfriend who is going to, rip you a new one when you do foolishness and, speak harsh truths to you. Now, occasionally you find all that in one girlfriend, but that is rare. And so you have this bunch of girlfriends. It's the same principle, right? Everybody's different. What do you think? Would you theoretically have multiple husbands?
Well, if you see me falling on the floor, my husband crashed through the office, right? And knocked me on the floor.
I was like, don't let me go and get Miss Jackie in no trouble now.
I don't think
it's theoretical.
I don't think I have the wherewithal to do that.
Define wherewithal. What's that mean?
I don't have the fortitude. I don't have the mental capacity. When I meet people, it takes me okay, this is what I do. When I meet people, I don't try to memorize their names, because I don't know if they're going to be in my inner circle. I forget their names. I promise you, every time. I don't try to memorize wherever I am. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I say, hey, how you doing? Because I don't even know their name, and I don't even remember their name. Because it may be a bad or a good trait, but that's who I am. You introduce me to someone, I'm like, hey, how you doing? See them again, hey, how you doing? Now, if you would have got to bet me $50 to remember their name, nope, not going to happen. You won't get the money. So for me, I can't, because then I have to know what you like, what you don't like. I have to still be Jackie, because you have maybe the husband that jokes with you. The other husband is serious, because you're not going to get them all the same type of personalities. So then you have the one who, it's just too much. I can't. That's why, and I'm going to be totally transparent here, because we're talking. That's why I can't get into the whole let's do threesomes. Like, come on, Jackie. the head and the mouth and the body organs and the body fluid will be too much for me, because I'm like, okay, what am I doing? And if I see him with another girl, wait a minute, you did that 10 times, you only did that to me 4 times. I'm gonna be counting. So I can't.
Jackie, you're gonna have a checklist?
Yes. I'm gonna keep a mental checklist, and when everybody's done, I'm like, let me tell you what you did. You rubbed her shoulder 5 times and you only rubbed mine 2 times.
Oh
yes,
my goodness.
I'm gonna be real with you. I cannot. It's just too much going on. And I'm so ADD in a way. And my doctor says I'm not. I'm like, okay. It's like a tennis match. I get bored easily, but watching that, and it's just too much for me. It's just too much for me. So the answer is no. I'm sure he's back over there clapping and laughing and saying, oh yeah, thank God. She better say yes. And I'm letting y'all know, if I do not show up tomorrow, something is wrong, because I said no on my part. I don't know if he said yes on his part, and I should have agreed with it, because we had discussed this before, not to do it, but just talk about the ways of the world. Because Lisa, I'm in Atlanta, and in Atlanta, they're always saying there's 50 women to 1 man. So women should be appreciative and grateful for whatever man that they have. If he's out there and he wants to present this polyamorous relationship or whatever relationship, you better take it. And a lot of these women are just, I hear them, they know that they're significant. They didn't sign up for this. They knew that they're significant others with another woman. They can't say anything because of the finances, so they go along with it.
But that is not polygamy.
Right.
That is not polygamy. Exactly. That's monogamy with cheating.
Right.
Those are not the same thing. Those are not the same
thing.
But that was not the agreement.
But see, that's true. But see, in the relationships, the guys are presenting it to them that this is now, a polyamorous relationship.
It's abusive.
Polygamy. Right.
It's abusive. It's abusive. It's narcissistic.
Yes.
It is manipulative. I mean, just call it what it is, right? If you in a marriage and you want to go cheat, just say you want to cheat, just say that, right? Or if you want somebody else, that's all I'm saying. But don't call it, oh well, now it's, we're in a polyamorous relationship, because that was not the agreement.
But the younger generation now, they're more leading into that, because I was watching a show with one of the Smiths' children. And the daughter, that's the type of relationship she wants to be in. When you go to the younger kids, marriage, and if I'm not mistaken, marriage has declined ever since the disease or whatever we have going on. Right. And it's not whatever, we know, the bang bang, as I call it, that has declined. Divorce has increased, but being married, I'm hearing these kids, when I'm talking to them, they want to get more into a polyamorous relationship. I spoke with a young girl. She was trying to figure out how she can get into the polygamy community. And I'm like, wow. And she comes from a household where mom and dad. So I don't know. And I'm not here to judge, like, where did you learn that from? But I'm listening to the younger generation, and this is more accepting to them, because they feel like marriage is so archaic that they need to define relationships and not create something new, just fall into the polygamous lifestyle.
Yeah. And, I don't even saying the I'm okay. I'm trying to think of my phrasing here, right? There are a couple of things. One is, you and I are of a different generation, by which I mean there were certain things, and it actually was not right, but we didn't know that at the time. It was how we were brought up. We are on a learning curve. We're on a learning curve, because certain things were just not accepted. And anybody can hear from my accent where I'm from. I am from Barbados. Barbados is not the worst of the Caribbean islands where this sort of thing is concerned. Jamaica is actually one of the worst, right? But there are laws on the books against certain kinds of relationships in a lot of the Caribbean territories, right? And so that informed how a lot of us were raised. Right. But here we are now. It's 2022. Thankfully, things have changed. And I say thankfully because I truly believe in do you love who you love how you want to love, and when and where, once you are not harming anybody else. That's my big thing, right? Really what anybody else does in their bedroom is absolutely, I am so not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. It does not concern me. It does not bother me one way or the other because it's not me. I am going to control what I want to do in my personal spaces, and other people can control what they want to do, hopefully, can control what they want to do in their personal spaces. But I feel like the younger generations, because they've grown up with more of this information just being out there, and with the world in general getting to be a more accepting place. I mean, it's not where it should be, but it's getting to be more open and more accepting. And so these are options that people can like, people have always existed across the spectrum of the, like, there is no binary, right? People have existed across the spectrum of gender identity and sexual expression and all of this stuff. It's just, it wasn't accepted. Now more and more of it is accepted, and that's why we're hearing more and more about it. And I'm like, just let people, people need to just do what they want to do what they want to do. And
but don't you think that creates muckery if we let people do it? I'm for do what makes you happy, but I have to play devil's advocate. Do you think?
Yeah. I get it.
Right. Do you think when you let people do whatever they want to do, that's why we have laws? And I'm not talking about LGBT stuff. I'm just saying, we have laws for a reason. So when we let people do whatever they want to do, don't you think that things may run amok and it upsets the apple cart?
So, and I love that you asked a devil's advocate question, because in the work that I do, I get a lot of devil's advocate questions, right? And it's always interesting. They're always interesting. And I will say this: just because something is law doesn't make it right. It used to be law to own Black people, right? So let's start there. There are all kinds of stuff that are laws that probably definitely should never have been laws. And people would argue, well, are things going to run amok, as you put it? Are things going to run amok if we free Black people? Right? The entire universe is going to tilt on its axis, and what's going to happen to our livelihood? Those were arguments that were made then. And the same kind of thing applies now. Just because something was or is law doesn't mean that it is correct or humane or any of that. So yeah,
I like that.
That's my thought.
Miss Matthews wrote, it's so we have some comments to read. Miss Matthews wrote, Aquarius rules the 11th house. If you like, look up what the house governs. We're in the Aquarian age. That could be inspiring of all these independence. So that's what's called in the independence, because we're living in an Aquarian age. Groups not embracing marriages. It was once Aquarius is a very friendly yet distant, and they're aloof. The legendary actress Rita Moreno said that she'd rather eat glass than to allow another man in her home again. Her documentary video is by Katrina A. Very enthralling. And she says that's anarchy based on what you were saying. Sane discipline is necessary. Now, here's my thing when I hear women say that they would rather do such and such than let a man. My question is to you. What are you? You're choosing these type of men. Why are you choosing these type of men? Because wait. Because I've heard that before. I've heard.
I'm like right to jump in, right?
I have a friend who she's divorced. This is her second divorce, and her divorce, the men that she chose was exactly like her father, exactly like him. And these guys she knew were crazy. Well, let me not use that clinical. Let me not use that term. Were a little bit off. Where they were abusive. And I do believe I do believe all the times you are what you attract. There's something in there that makes you attract these men. So when I hear women like, I'll never get married again, I want to be by myself because my marriage, there are men out there. There are good men out there. Just like you have men out there complaining like, because I hear them. Where are all the women? Where are all the good women? So for me, I like marriage. I whatever happens, always want to remain married. You be married. Miss Matthews wrote, the late great Eartha Kitt has some great documentaries. Yeah, I love Eartha Kitt. Anyone who was a
Me
motherless
too.
daughter, those are the shows I watch. Her list of quotes awesome too. What she said about men, pure wisdom, especially what she said about love. She was very inspiring. But that's the thing where sometimes women are playing victim or victims, that they're not looking at, why am I attracting this man, why do I have these similar type men in my space. So I just feel bad, or I just feel a little let down when I hear women say these things about men. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts?
I have multiple thoughts. And you and I have spoken many times about the law of attraction and similar things and energy. And so there is a part of me that partially there's a part of me that agrees with what you said, right? There is a part of me that also that knows that these types of men, people, but we're talking about men right now, but these types of men are also skilled at presenting what I call their representative, because what they do is they also do choose a certain kind of woman. It doesn't mean that the woman is bad. It doesn't. We're not casting aspersions on anybody's character, but they do choose a certain kind of person, right? Often somebody that's kind of nice and sweet and kind and all those kind, has a soft heart. But they target certain personality types and present themselves in a way that they know will attract that person. But that's not necessarily their true self. But the other person has no way of knowing that, right? It's like if you watch, I don't know, let's say Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles, you would swear he's Ray Charles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You would swear that he is Ray Charles, but he isn't. But you don't have any way of knowing that because this is what you're presented with. So it's something similar, something like that. Yeah, I can see, I see where you're coming from. I think that there is benefit if somebody is attracting a similar type of toxic person. There's a benefit to unpacking what is probably some trauma, what is probably some unhealed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a benefit to that. So I receive what you're saying. I receive what you're saying about that. And the men also can also present themselves as wolves in sheep's clothing.
Oh, definitely. But see, that's why you have to be skilled in knowing who the representatives are and
Mhm,
who the authentic person is.
mhm.
We
It's
have to be,
hard. It's
but
hard to tell.
I think sometimes we're so desperate for
Yes,
affection,
yes, yes,
for
yes.
because men, that pheromone, they can smell. Most men that I know, they can smell the low self-esteem in women. They can smell it a mile away. Just like you have women who could smell, they're attractive, they're gorgeous, and they can smell the money men.
Right?
Okay, they can smell it and they know what they need to do. So I think for us as women, we have to make that conscious effort in, you know, taking stock in ourselves, because I keep hearing we're queens, we're queens, we're queens, but we're not walking in queendom. We're not living in queendom. What we're doing is we're living in the prince and the princesses. When you decide to take that crown off and wear the higher crown, which is a queen or a king, you got to step into it. When you're a prince and a princess, you can make those little mistakes. You shouldn't, but you can make those mistakes. But the minute you decide to say, I'm a queen, you got to be able to discern, because we have this thing where, like I have a friend, he got married to someone, and I'm trying to see where our guest is. He got married to someone, his mother told him to marry her. All his friends told him not to marry her. His gut told him not to marry her. He married her. She made his life a living hell. So whenever I talk to him, I'm always hearing this victim mentality. I'm always hearing certain things like, first of all, she had a dishonorable discharge because there was some psychological things going on with her. She was a true narcissist. When I met her, I knew something was wrong. So finally they divorced. But all his women he had, they were issues. So when I'm talking to him, he's like, all my girlfriends will say I was cool. How could they say you were cool if they're ex-girlfriends? You're delusional, buddy. You're delusional.
Points have been made. Points have been made.
Oh man, we got to get it together as women. And what I don't like in society, while I'm talking to you, I'm trying to get the guest. What I don't like in today's society is when what has happened within the last 10 years. When you're with a guy and he's a good guy, people are telling you, don't talk about him on social media. Don't say you're married to a nice guy or you're with a nice guy, because other women are going to try to come and get him. If he's a good guy, anybody can come knocking on the door. He has to know not to open the door. You know what I'm saying? People say it's hard, it's this, it's that. No, because I'm not walking around with my husband's penis in my pocket and his lips in my pocket every day. I'm not doing that because I got to trust the process. If it happens, then we'll deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't like it. Like, there's so many happy people or people who present that they're happy, but they don't want to share it because they don't want to hear the onslaught of negativity from other women.
And that actually brings me back to a point about polygamous or polygynous relationships, right? Because again, if your agreement is, let's say it's going to be a woman, for example, a woman with two husbands, or a man with two wives, whatever, and that is your agreement, then if another person comes into that relationship unagreed to, then that is cheating, because that is outside.
Yes.
That is outside of the stated agreement of the relationship.
Right.
So I just wanted to say that's my view, at least.
Miss Matthews says, per Psych 101, how we're conceived during the act of copulation, that's a lot of attention exchange between ways. Now, if the act is in lust or real love, that'll affect the boy's psyche. However, both want attention. Why? That's why they're made unless they're test tube babies in a clinical sterile hospital, yet there's too much attention paid. I mean, listening to what she's saying, so I guess she's saying, no, not excusing attention whores, but diagnosing why life wants attention.
Who is this? I have to meet this Mrs. Matthews.
Yes.
I'm loving. Yes. I am loving her comment.
She even plants, pets, etc. We all need attention to survive. Yes. That's true. We need the sunlight.
Babies need attention to thrive. Attention is not a bad thing.
It's not. It's the type of attention you're getting now, or what you're doing to get certain types of attention. Just text her to say, "Come on, we getting on now. Come on now." But it's just, again, I never thought when I met this, because I met her husband first, right? I'll have you on the show to talk about astrology. Most definitely. I'm a Capricorn, and it's most
Scorpio.
Lisa's a Scorpio and I'm a Capricorn. It's amazing to me. I'm telling you, I was shocked because when I met the husband and he told me, because we were talking about something, we were at an event, he sponsored one of my events. Then he said, one of my wives will be there. And I'm like, one of you? Who? And it shocked me because, again, I was thinking, for me in my mind, again, don't charge it to my head. I was like, wow, so he's Black. And I said throuple. That's what I said to myself. I wasn't even thinking about polygamy and stuff. And then he mentioned, yes, I'm going to, but he didn't make it sound as if he was the ruler of both women. He didn't make it up. It didn't, he had like a soft touch to it when he talked to me about it, and this has been years, like 9, maybe 6 years. And I said, I'm glad that we could do this show to talk about it. But, it's, I don't know, Lisa. I couldn't do it. I ain't gonna this is my husband, that's my husband. It's just too much. It's too.
Not for me. I especially as I've gotten older, it's like I said, I don't like that many people. I really don't, and I don't. It just is what it is, right? I'm really, really particular about the people that I have around me, about the energy that I have around me.
Mhm.
And you know, no, I don't want to get into too much detail, but I'm really funny about, you know, textures. And it's like,
I
I
was
just,
thinking the same thing when you
I
said
can't.
that. I was thinking and that's what I was leading into when I said the feet, and then
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But here's the thing: not many people, and it's a possibility that not many people who are in a polygamous relationship are having sex at the same time with the community, with the. It's a possibility that's not happening,
I
But
don't
for
care.
me, if we're in a different room and if I'm living in the house and I know Tuesdays and Thursdays she has you, I'm not getting any sleep because I'm like, I wonder what they're doing, what's going on. And yeah, so
And
yeah.
and so I think, but again, you know, this is the beautiful diversity of humanity, because as much as for you or for me or whatever, it is not for us, but there are millions and billions of people that they're like, absolutely, this is the perfect kind of relationship for them. The perfect, and they the same way for us, we might not want it or want or be able to imagine any other way. For them, they don't want it or want to be able to imagine any other way. And that is the beauty, the absolute beauty of the diversity of humanity, because there are so many different options for so many different things. I think you're on mute, sweetie. I don't know if that is deliberate or not, but I think your mic is muted.
Yeah, she's gonna come on. She's fixing her camera. She's
Okay,
fixing
well,
her
we
camera.
have we have 4 minutes left though.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We started at 6. Remember, we're supposed to be 6. It was supposed to be from 6 to 7:30.
Is it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, she's coming on. She's fixing her camera, so to take the camera off and just have her voice. That's
Okay,
what
okay,
she's gonna
okay.
do. Yeah. So she said that's what she's fixing on her phone right now. So FYI, Miss Matthews says if a man's spiritual father is Shango Chango, he may be intellectually known. He's entitled to more than one woman. When I tell you this woman is deep, she is deep. Okay, she knows so much about things like this. And that's why she's well read, well versed. I like.
Mm-hmm.
So again, for those of you tuning in, just bear with us. Our guest, she's working her camera on her phone, getting it
Yes, couple
together.
tech difficulties,
Yeah,
but
technical difficulties,
she's
right?
gonna get them sorted out soon.
Yes, she's gonna get it sorted out. So, but it's been a great exchange between us to see what you
Right?
would do. So, if you met a man and you were traveling and he's a king, and because then there's also this thing in other
No.
cultures where you're the number one wife, and when you're the number one wife, she gets to pick the other wives. You know,
No. No.
you're
No.
still saying no.
No.
You're still saying
No. No.
that's not your cup of tea.
It's just not for me, and that is okay.
Yes, it
That
is.
is
It's no
okay.
judgment. Whether you're for it or not with it, it's no judgment here because we got to talk
Exactly.
about it because I'm telling you, I'm meeting these young kids and they're talking about, just like how people identifying themselves on how they self-identify, they're also self-identifying their lifestyle, not just who they are, but their lifestyle, polyamorous or, I'm into this and I'm into that. And I'm like, wow. I want to
I
know
love it.
when an archaeologist 300 years from now digs up her body, he's not going, and someone talked about it, and I said, you know what, that's true. When they dig up our bodies, they're not going to look at me or whomever as transgendered. You're either going to be male or female. They're going to have to do 100 years worth of study to find out this whole transgender identification. Oh, here
I
she
am
is.
I'm so done with you.
Okay. Your camera's on, right, Khadijah? Okay. Well, everyone, we want to bring on our wonderful guest, Miss Khadijah, and let's bring her in. Hi, Khadijah.
Hi.
How are
Hi.
you?
Let's hear it. Good. And you?
I am doing great. This is my co-host, Lisa.
Hi.
And
Hi, Lisa.
I
Nice to
wanted
meet
to bring
you.
we wanted to bring you on because there's so much. We had right before you got on so many questions that we had about. That's why I named the show. We named the show Polygamy versus Monogamy. So can you please explain it as best as you can, because we're both open. This is a non-judgmental zone. We want to understand and embrace.
What I have learned is how can I say, most Black women are living in polygamous relationships anyway. And that's just keeping it all the way 100.
Did not say
Jackie
that.
just said that.
Thank you.
You said it.
Hold on a second. Nasir, bring my tablet here for me, please. It's on the floor next to the lamp.
You said it.
Most
Jackie.
Black women are living in polygamous relationships anyway. And we've all heard the stories from our grandfathers, uncles, and all of those that had families. When they died, they found out, like, who these people that showed up at the funeral. Sometimes two families, one family, and it's like, where these people come from? Who are you? And it's like, yeah, we lived a mile down the road. That's my daddy. What? So we've all heard those stories. And most people, Black women, have to get out of that concept. I only want this man for me, my forever. And it's like, no, men have the capacity to love more than one person. There are some women who have the capacity to love more than one person. I see it all the time on social media. Sisters having two brothers. To me, it's like, wow. But it's the same thing. If, like, I always hear it was an episode of The Jeffersons. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. There are some women who have that mentality, and some do, some don't. For me, it's no.
So how did you remove the ego, which is jealousy, and this is mine? How did you get past that to say this is a sharing relationship? How did you get past that?
You have to look at nature. Look at nature. That's what's going on. Look at what the lions, a pride. Look what goes on in a pride. There's usually one male in a pride. If he has boy cubs, when those boy cubs get up to a certain age, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. You gotta go find your own pride, bruh.
So,
You
Khadijah,
can't stay here.
just for the sake of our viewers that have just joined, can you tell us about a little bit about your relationship, just so that everybody has context in terms of knowing, what your relationship, how your relationship is set up?
Well, for me personally, I try not to even insert myself in that due to the privacy.
Of course. Yeah, no details, no identifying details, just in general, just very, very general, what you feel comfortable sharing.
What I had to get was, it's not about what most of us think it's about. Most people think about automatically it's about sex. No, it's not that. It's not that at all. It's family I hate to use that term, like family is a business. No, it's about, we are behind enemy lines here. Let's just keep it 100. We are behind enemy lines. And there are women that are out here struggling and need support.
We were just talking about that.
We sisters need support. And if there is a man, a brother out here that is mature enough to do this, why not? Why not? And it has to be done in such a way, even if you need support. Sometimes most of us are not mentally capable of taking on a relationship such as this, because I can honestly say I definitely wasn't. I had some serious challenges, and the challenges are whatever you suppressed within your own self, that sister is going to bring it up. It's
So,
coming.
so you mentioned that you had to make some, or you changed,
I
right?
had to make some
You had to
serious
make some
adjustments.
changes. Or
Most,
so how did those changes come about for you? How did you navigate through those changes in a healthy way?
um I didn't know until it came up. And sometimes it was like real time.
Right?
And
Triggered.
I'm keeping it all the way 100, because my issues was I had mother wounds,
Mm.
major mother wounds. And going through this process, I literally understood how women fall into, and sometimes even men fall into, homosexuality. Because when you don't have a proper relationship with your mother, and you're searching for a connection with a woman, you're going to look for a connection in a woman. And that's how that comes up. And I was like, wow, because I had to, when I say I had to question everything about myself, everything that I learned, because I can honestly say, growing up, I did not fulfill my teenage years. I did not fulfill my childhood in its full potential at all.
When you say you did not fulfill, can you tell us more about that? Like, what do you mean by that?
The best way that I can say that is, my father is 74 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He has a full head of black hair. He has no gray hair.
Wow.
And that's because that's how good I was
You know, I
growing up.
want to
Say no
My
more.
husband even calls me,
I,
my husband used to call me goody two shoes. When it came
yes,
time to getting in trouble, Khadijah is not getting in any trouble.
I
I'm like,
actually.
understand.
hell no, I did not. I grew up with the fact that you don't embarrass your parents. You don't embarrass your family name. You go out in them streets, you act like my grandmother would say, "Una must keep your skirt down and your stockings up."
That's
That's
right.
what I
Wait,
heard.
hold on, time out. Where are you from? I hear the thing come out there just
Yeah,
now.
I'm from New York, and my grandmother was from St. Thomas.
Okay, I'm from Barbados.
See,
Yes, and my mother was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay. All right.
we're
Yeah.
I just had to
Uh-huh.
of the island. I
right.
Yes.
understand what she's saying, because like you, I'm always, and this is funny, Khadijah, because here's the thing. I've always told people I'm always attracted to motherless daughters. The
Mm,
Oprahs, the Eartha Kitt, the Diane Carols, on it, the Tina Turners. Mothers were in their lives, but mothers didn't fulfill what they should have been fulfilling. And I so understand what you're talking about when you
yep.
said that you go out there searching, because my father raised me. You go out there searching. My father, my grandfather, I'm more navigated towards the men, my grandfather, my father. My grandmother was in the picture, but I was more closer to the men. When you go outside, you're searching for that woman, that motherly, that connection. So when you said it, it triggered a good thing, because you can fall into a lesbian relationship. You can fall into not knowing that's what you're doing. You can fall. And again, for those watching, we're not here condemning anything. We're just talking facts,
Right.
because that is so true. If you're, whatever you're missing from the pictures, particularly from a mother, and we understand
Mhm.
from a dad, but because the mother gives you how to be feminine, how to do a lot of things. When you're raised by your dad, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from New York like you, and
Mhm.
you tend to have more testosterone than you have estrogen.
Yep.
Right? So I understand that whole concept about, you're out there searching, because I skipped a couple. You know what I'm saying? Where I could have fell into that, but I skipped a couple. So I get what you're saying about you can fall into that lesbian relationship. So my question to you is, when it was presented to you, did you have to form a personal relationship with the other wife to get to know her, to see? Because I don't, who was first? And the reason I'm asking that is that the person who's first, or who was first married into the relationship, do they vet the other person, or how does that work? Because you have to have a relationship with her too. How does that
Right.
work?
It can be, it all depends on how the dynamic was brought about. Me and my husband been married over 20 years. And we have, I gave birth to 3 children, and my oldest son is deceased. I had him prior to meeting my husband. And how can I say? It just depends on how the relationship is started. Now, I was here first, and of course, it's always to the advantage of, everybody knowing everybody and helping everybody, supporting everybody, and doing what everybody does. But sometimes that's not the case, because there's so much, healing that needs to take place, that you can't be involved in a relationship with everybody involved, because there's so much healing that has to take place. And I know that was my case. I have had so much healing that needed to take place, and you don't want to go into something damaging people at all. And that's something that can happen. So to avoid those type of things, you got to deal with this thing with kitty gloves. And everybody has to be patient in, getting to a place to where everybody can, come together and be like, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, what's the goals here? And you set those parameters up, and everybody falls in line and support one another how they need to be supported.
How does one remove like jealousy? Like, is it the other woman's role to console you? Is it his role to console whoever's jealous? Or is it both their jobs to sit down and say, okay, remember the parameters, remember what we discussed? How do you, because again, Khadijah, first of all, let me say this. Thank you, my sister, for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you for even showing your face, because you're putting a face to what people thought. Because when I thought about it, I thought it was just the Mormons and the Caucasian people, when you see sister wives and they're running amok. There are people who are doing this that's very successful. Again, I'm not promoting or saying nothing, it's wrong. What I'm here to say is we have to start embracing people on the lifestyle that they live, because it's their lifestyle. We're practically canceling every damn body in the Black community, right about that. Everybody. Things that don't align with us, we're canceling. We need to continue embracing people because again, your lifestyle is not affecting me. So why would I her, please, that is crazy. We got to stop that. We have to start embracing. And I know on another level, because I met your husband, love him, girl, I love you to pieces. So
appreciate that.
I just love how, and when I say she's a boss, Lisa, she's a boss. Okay.
Oh, I know. Listen,
yeah, she's a boss.
I already know. I already know, because I know the kind of people you surround yourself with. I already know.
It's just interesting. And you're talking, while you're talking and you and Lisa were talking, my mind was twirling, because I'm like, wow, it resonates. Because think about this. It's a business. And let's say one person wants to stay home, because I mentioned I'm the first person who I met who was in this. She was a hairdresser, and the wife stayed at home and took care of the kids, cleaned the house and cooked the food, while her and the husband went out, basically hunted the meat, killed the meat, and brought the meat home, the food and money and stuff. And she loved the relationship. When I saw her, she just was shining to me. And then I asked her, and then she told me, because I saw the baby, and she's like, the baby's home with my wife. Do you identify that person as your wife when you are able to speak about them when you're out? If you all three are out, do you label them your wife, or what label do you use the other person as?
Not real big on labels.
Oh.
Not real big on labels. And that's just me personally, because one thing for sure, two things for certain, you have to be clear on what it is that you're doing. And what we have decided is everything we do is African centered.
Oh,
So
okay.
we don't even have this European mindset that a lot of us have. We so and
I don't mean to. I'm
what
laughing because
no,
I'm in alignment. It's not.
She's
right. No,
talking
I
about
got
me.
you.
That's what she's
I
talking
got you.
about. But go
See,
ahead.
and this is what I've learned on my travels. Okay. And this is my personal experience. These are my opinions based off of what I experienced on living on these United States. Okay.
All right, tell it.
Um,
Tell it.
this country, and if you anybody that lives on these states, we are an experiment. Ain't nobody lived and went through what we have gone through
True.
being here. We
Fact.
are under psychological warfare every day,
Daily.
on a daily basis. And can't nobody tell me that I must live, no, be born, raise up in an environment that is designed to kill me.
Literally.
At the same time, you created me to hate who I am because you've stolen my ancestors. For those of us who weren't here, okay, there's some of us who subscribe to the, yeah, I didn't come. I wasn't part of those people that came on those ships. I can honestly say, yeah, I'm a descendant of a slave because my grandfather was on Puerto Rico. So like the words of Paul Mooney, my grandfather's people was one of those niggas who could swim and didn't make it all the way here. My father, on the other hand, my father is under the impression that his family were here through Ghana, came here from Ghana. Mm-hmm. I don't know if African ancestry and 23andMe are valid or real DNA representations of where they say they're from. I don't know, but my aunt, she's the historian in our family. She did the work and said that my father's people come from Ghana. So if I'm gonna practice anything, I'm gonna practice that. I don't know nothing about Nigeria and all of that other kind of stuff. So that's what the frame of mind that I come from, and that's what I go in alignment with that. Practicing African spirituality is very high. We're not Christians. So we are anti anything that has been put in us. So if you tell me how I must behave, who the hell told you that I must do that? Who told you that you can take what you took from me and I must subscribe to that, which you did to my ancestors? I no longer subscribe to that. So when I hear people talk about, oh, you stupid for getting into a relationship like that, the hell I am. I got a man. And if I have to share him, you know what? I'm okay with that. My children gets other children to play with that I didn't have to have.
She giving the perks, y'all.
Okay. My 11-year-old son, I wish he was a twin. But now I don't have to wish that anymore because now he gets 2 extra brothers that I didn't have to have.
Wow.
We don't have to pay for childcare because we have a support system. All of our parents are involved. Brothers and sisters are involved.
There is a village and a community.
It takes a village. We don't have to worry about sexual predators coming into our family because we are the family. Everybody's fully vetted. We don't have to put them in Kids R Us.
Right.
We don't have to depend on, we have other people. We have a community of people who support us. When we need to go to the dentist, we have other family members who are in the who whatever we need, it's there. You'd be surprised at the celebrities that practice this.
Mm.
You would be
Lisa.
surprised.
Mm, mm,
I was shown
We
a
might have to
movie.
have you back on, Miss Khadijah.
not only are you vetted, not only are they vetted, they're also invested.
Invested.
And that's important.
Very important.
Because, and something that you alluded to earlier, Khadijah, and Jackie and I kind of talked about it as well before you came on, is that notion of a lot of women in particular, women struggling and having no support. Now, this is not quite the same thing, but I will throw this out there because it came to me and another friend of mine. She's from Barbados, lives in London alone. I am from Barbados, living in New Jersey alone. And I recently broke my foot.
Mm.
And I live up 2 flights of stairs and I have a dog.
Mm.
And long story short is that the foot has taken twice as long to heal because there is no village.
No village.
There is no community. There is no help. There is no support. There's just me and the broken foot and the dog.
Right. Yes,
but,
indeed.
But and I say that, I mean, it's just like an example, but you understand what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can extrapolate that out to a bunch of other situations, because what Jackie said earlier is that there's so many women that are struggling, right? It could be with this or with anything else.
Yeah.
More than once. I kid you not. I have said to my mom, right? And you know, I'm a mama's girl. You know, I call her back in Barbados almost every day. And, you know, I'm like, look, I need a wife. I have literally said that to her more than once, right? Because honestly speaking, unless you have the wherewithal to outsource your life, by which I mean, you know, you have, you know, cook, housekeeper,
right,
personal assistant, doctor, lawyer, all them things you were talking about.
Exactly.
Unless you have that, it is a team of one and it is tough.
It's tough.
And then you end up riding the struggle bus and then you're existing, not living.
But see, here's
the
issue, because you know, I'm going to say something to you ladies. I remember, I think I must have been maybe 25. I knew this young lady when I was 17, and we were the tag teams, both from Brooklyn. Her mother owned like the whole block, and we were real tight friends. I don't know how it started. I think we went to the hairdresser. We did everything together, right? And I remember I went to the hairdresser once because we both go to the same hairdresser, and I went to pay the hairdresser, and she's like, "No, you don't have to pay it. Sandra paid it." I'm like, "She paid it?" She's like, "She paid for your hair." The next week, because we would go back then in the days in New York getting your hair done, you go 3:00 on a Saturday or Friday, not coming out till Sunday. Our hairdresser was so hip to it. She would bring strippers, she would bring food, would come in, she would bring the people who did fruits would come in, the Jamaican people selling everything. You didn't have to leave. If you want a brand new TV, you gonna get a TV.
Anything you need.
Anything.
Thank you. So I paid for her hair the following week because we would go every other week. Then we started sharing our money together. If she wanted to do something, like she said, "Yo, Jackie, I need some money for my," we just subconscious
supported one another.
We were sharing our money. There was no money I had, and she didn't abuse it. I didn't abuse it. And it's like, instead of going to whomever, I'm like, "Sandra, I need this," and we shared it. And I've never met, if we wanted to go on vacation, here's $300. Go on vacation and enjoy yourself. And it wasn't a lesbian relationship. It was just like, she had because she started this.
Y'all had each other's back.
Had each other's back. And I've never met women. And I've definitely, since living in Georgia, I've approached other women. Instead of struggling, why don't we forget about the husbands? When I mean forget about the husband's significant other, let's not bring them into it. Meaning, if we're sisters, because back in Africa, remember, if you went out and you had the baby, I would go out and
That's
pick
right.
your cotton or pick
That's
your
right.
food and bring it in. Why don't we
Yes.
as women, I brought it to so many women, I see you struggling in something. This is what you want to do. Let's all donate $100 a week or $100 a month. Get 10 women to
Sue.
help to
Susu.
Girl, don't even talk about the Susu. We didn't even want to hear that right now. But God, understand that. So, because that's how most West Indian people bought their house through partner, Susu, whatever. But a lot of people, when it got into people who are not West Indian, they corrupted it, right?
Yeah.
But again, we understood that women should come together. Women should support, because if you just want to support me, like, hey, how you call? Real support is not just emotional. Real support is financial. Okay, and before
And practical.
anyone says, and if someone
That's
says,
right.
oh, why do you need a man? You still need a man, but you need to have your sisterhood. You should not be here knowing that your sister's struggling. Knowing
Exactly.
that, yo, you need something, yo, such and such. But then you don't want to gossip about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If we know our sister needs support, let's get money together. Let's get a group of 10 women, $100 a month or 200. You get 10 women, and then maybe that whole month or whatever, that money goes to her, similar to a Susu. Or let's say for 6 months. 6 months, let's or every 3 months, let's pick different women that we can put money to and support, because that's really what people need. People are not looking for a hand up. They're looking for a hand up.
For a hand
you know
up.
what I'm saying? So I hear your relationship. Let me bring this back to that.
Yes.
You know, women, what I love about what you're saying is you have a village, you have support. You're not sitting here like, oh, I wonder if he's sexing her and what's going on in the bedroom, because you're seeing the bigger picture, and you're possibly more happier and content than other women who are running ragged, putting their kids in. Because girl, you glowing. You don't look like you got
listen. You took the words out of my mouth, because I'm looking at this melanin and this complexion. Right? Not a line to be seen. Right? Exactly, Khadijah. She's like, right? Because she's like,
because we all have, you know, I kind of watch. I don't watch TV anymore. And it's a lot because it's very low vibration. Okay? And when you hear people talk about, you know, their relationship stuff, and I'm saying to myself, why are you continuing to set yourself up? You checking phones and like, what the heck? Like, what? When I hear a couple of weeks ago, when the hurricane that was supposed to come here a couple of weeks ago, and I just so happened to not have my phone in my car when I turned my car on. So the radio was on. And I'm listening to the conversation on the radio, and I'm like, as a host, you were having this conversation when I first moved to Atlanta. And that was in 99. You still having these low vibration ass conversations about somebody checking somebody's DM because somebody is, I think my man cheating on. If you think he's cheating on you, 9 times out of 10, you know what, sweetie? He is. And if that's not the type of relationship you want to be in, exit stage left. Find someone who's willing to live a monogamous lifestyle. If not, you need to seek other options.
Thank you. I can't do that. I can't do that because I don't look into my husband's phone. He has my code. I have his. And again, I'm saying that to say, look, if I got to look through his phone to see who he texting, who texting him, who messaging him, I ain't got time for that. But at the same time, you're doing that. You need to check up on me. I don't have time for the fool, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I am not here taking care of a child. And what am I going to do? Oh, I want to fight you over it. I don't have. When I say I don't have the time or the energy, and it behooves me when I see women who do that, and they're like, oh, I checked his DMs, or, ooh, you know, they watch one of those trashian shows, if y'all know what I'm talking about, and they know how to break into a man's code, and I don't have time to go check his email to see who's emailing him. Look, life, and the fact that I wake up every morning is a blessing, and I'm showing gratitude. I'm not running behind a grown ass man trying to find out what is going on in his DMs or what's going down
Nope.
in his DMs. I'm trying
Foolish.
to run a business here. I ain't got time for that foolishness. You're focusing on the wrong thing, my sister.
Wrong thing.
You're not focusing on bettering yourself, how to raise yourself to a higher vibration so better things can come. Look, Khadijah, we definitely got to have you on. When I say you have definitely give us food for thought, and the things that you were saying, that's what Miss Lisa and I was talking about. And I'd like you. Let me just put this out there, and I'll say this again. Lisa won an award. She was acknowledged as one of the top 10 out of, I guess, 200 people. She landed in number 7 for LinkedIn regarding diversity. It's a list that's called Creators for Inclusion and Diversity for LinkedIn, and this melanin lady landed in number 7. And this show, it's a platform. It's just, yeah, Jackie, but I share the platform with other women because so often melanin women are not appreciated and celebrated in the space that they're in. And we need to step back as women and celebrate other women because it's not about me all the time. We got to learn how, just like sharing money. Women are afraid to say, hey, I need $50 because they think the person they're calling for $50 is going to gossip about them. We have to stop doing that. We have to live in a community. We have to say, okay, here's $50. Let me see, do what you need to do, because it could be a matter of
and hold that information sacred and secret.
Yes.
Don't tell not nary another soul. That's something that really bothers me. It's everybody don't have to know.
Because it could be a matter of them eating or not. It could be a matter of them eating or not. So why not? If you have it, give it. You'll be blessed. So I just want all my sisters out there. If you have sisters, and I don't mean biological, if you have a woman that's a friend of yours and she's struggling, she's struggling, but you can hear it, you can see it. Why do you have to wait for her? Because again, some women have pride. Why? But again, I believe in a closed mouth don't get fed. So why not support her? And that's why I tell some of these women that I have that are friends that I don't see them on my show. I don't see them liking, subscribing. I don't see them watching the show. So I'm like, you're not supporting. What does it take just to like? I'm not asking you for money. What does it take for you to like and subscribe? But I bet your bottom dollar there's a new sheriff in town, and baby, I got some things planned for those. Okay. Because we're giving out good content. So why not support it? Miss Matthews is on here all the time. We get a lot of our plays on the after show. So, but again, Khadijah, I want to thank you for just being who you are. You are a beautiful rose, black diamond. When I met you.
You can feel the good energy.
Yes.
You can feel the good energy.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you, ladies, for even for thinking about me. Because
are you on LinkedIn, by the way?
Say again. Am I on TikTok?
On LinkedIn or TikTok?
Oh, you know what? I used to be on LinkedIn, but since I got the phone that I have now, no. Because I'm self-employed, so no.
Okay. We'll chat.
We'll definitely chat. We'll definitely connect. So and if then I'll give her your thing, Lisa, because when she does get back on LinkedIn and stuff again, we want to thank everyone for tuning into the Women Are Worthy Network. This has been so informative to me to see 3 melanin sisters just vibing and chatting up. Miss Matthews, and for those of you watching the show in the afterplay, please make sure you hit the notification bell, you like and subscribe. We have Lisa's TikTok on there. We have her LinkedIn on there. We have everything about Lisa that's on there. So please make sure you subscribe. Cool. And while you're watching it, go and hit her on her social media and say congratulations, y'all. Yes. I'm running with the big dog. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yes. It's so important to hype each other up, and that is a part of supporting each other too. And most Jackie, definitely. Thank you. Khadijah, thank you.
You are so welcome. Anytime. Anytime.
Miss Matthews, what state do you live in before we count down? Let me know what say. Hit me up on the email. Hit me up on the email that I gave you. So again, it's just been wonderful, Miss Khadijah. You done unpeeled my, whatever I thought. And I want people, I know it's been going on the 2-hour thing, but we want people to please watch the show. Miss Matthew, please share the show, because we would not be here without you, but we do need people to subscribe, like, and share the show. Again, y'all, this has been phenomenal. So have a great week, everyone.
Thank you. You